Hey Gators and sports fans, get all your Gator talk, news, analysis, and opinions on the Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning podcast. Find us on your favorite podcast platform or watch us on Facebook Live between 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. every weekday. Pod Up, because we are Gator fans. So say it's great to be a Florida Gator.
Good morning and welcome to a Wednesday edition of Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. We got a good show lined up today. We'll be joined by JC here momentarily. Second portion of the show, we'll be joined by the Gainesville Sun, Zach Abolverdi, talk about the new contracts of the Florida football coach, basketball coach, and women's basketball coach. But also yesterday was junior day, so they had a lot of guys on campus for the first time in a long time. Let's go straight to the Titan MR hotline. Corn Dog, good morning. How are you?
Hey, QB. So tell me, what's junior day? What does that mean, junior day?
Junior day means if you're going to be a junior in high school and you're a top recruit, they host you for a day.
So it's a high school recruitment.
It's just another day on campus. So
well, I'll tell you,
facilities, all that kind of stuff.
So I was kind of surprised to know that after this 3-year contract extension worth an additional $1.5 million annually for Dan Mullen gets him to $7.6 million in 21, which is up from almost $6.1 million last year. But now he ranks third in the SEC for highest paid coaches. And I was somewhat surprised that in the top 3, you did not have Jimbo Fisher, but rather,
right.
I think it's Ed Orgeron, who is number 2 behind Nick Saban. And now you have, so now you have Dan Mullen 3, and I'll just assume that Jimbo is number 4 at Texas A&M. I know he's getting paid an awful lot there at Texas A&M.
Well, it's crazy when you think about it. Dan Mullen was extended for another 3 years. I think it goes to like 2026 or something along those lines, but making like $7.6 million a year.
Yeah.
When Jimbo signed that contract to leave Florida State to go to A&M, everybody was like, this is astronomical. This is crazy.
Yes.
Well, our coach is making more money than him now.
It's right. And I think Strickland and the university want to give the university that long-term feel that and prospective players coming here and families who would be part of the University of Florida, that comfort knowing that this coach is at least on the university's perspective locked in for the long term. And I think the same can be said with the basketball duo of Mike White and Cameron Neubauer, who had 2-year contract extensions. So, you spent a lot of time on this show, and I'm sure there were other shows talking about Mike White's tenure at the University of Florida throughout the year last year. And really, it was just nothing but a waste of time, because here he was extended just the other day for another 2 years. So university has made its mind up. It's made its commitment to these coaches now. They're backing it with the financial aspect that's required, I guess, these days. And so Florida can rest assured, and Florida fans will know who their coaches are, at least unless Dan Mullen gets something better somewhere down the road. But I think he's locked in at the University of Florida. He wants to win an SEC, and he wants to challenge in the college football playoff, and he wants to do it at Florida. So his mind is made up. There's no better place for him to do that than right here. And he's going to have the facilities available to him to be able to compete off the field, so to speak. And now financially, he's going to be able to say, listen, out of 14 coaches, you're looking at one of the top 3 paid coaches. And I'm very happy to be at Florida. So that gives some folks a little bit of comfort, I think. Uh-oh. I hope you heard what I said.
Law firm partner of the Florida Gators. John says, I don't understand. Well, whatever. I lost first. I understand how Edo is the second highest paid coach in the national title, so they're going to give him an extension and pay him. I think he's by the 6th or 7th best coach in the league, maybe worse in my opinion. So we'll see. Gene says on Facebook, good morning. Hope the UAA is.
Well, I'm afraid that we've lost the QB.
Walton and
he's circling the moon right now. Technology, Evan. That's all right. I was just saying that I think the Florida family will be very pleased to know that their coach isn't going anywhere. So that's
well.
Wait, do we have them? Do we have them, Evan? Can you hear us, Shane? Yeah, I don't think so.
Can you hear me now?
No, we didn't hear it. So what we didn't get, if you're able to hear me, is when I got done with my little statement about Florida and Dan Mullen.
Can you
then
hear me?
Go to break. Okay.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our gridiron sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, where you matter most. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. G-Tech Sport, keep your athletes in the game with G-Tech Sport. QC Kinetics, non-surgical regeneration, live pain-free. Celebration Point Town Center, Center State Bank, Chris Doring Mortgage. Some of our touchdown sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union, Adams Rib Company, Doreen Weeby Realtor Caldwell Banker, MM Parish, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Rap Spot, Okido America, Gators Dockside, Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, TB Financial, Meadowbrook Golf Course, Darshakow Insurance, Silverback Concrete Company. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, visit potupwithshane.com and click the advertise button. Again, thank you to all the great businesses that support the show. If you like what we are doing here, make sure to follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Hey, welcome back to
Well, you're back.
Matthews in the morning and the Crime Prevention Security System. Hey, technology, man, it's live radio.
Yeah, that's right. Anything is possible. Well, I was just saying, QB, let me tell you where we left off when you started to go dead. I was just talking about, obviously, Coach Mullen and Neubauer and White and how the university has made their commitment. And I think these coaches are now relaying that message to the fans and the alumni that they don't have any aspirations of leaving. That's where I left it off when you went.
Well, I try to tell people that don't understand athletics for whatever reason. Mike White was going nowhere, and I don't know why they thought that. So he's around for a while. He just hired 2 new coaches. He's got to have pretty much a new squad next year. He's not going anywhere. As much as people don't like him for whatever reason, I think he's a good coach. I just don't think we've had good talent. And a lot of that falls back on him. They need to recruit better players, obviously.
Sure.
But anyway, football-wise, I was talking about people were surprised at the money Ed Ogeron. Well, he won a national title, 2 years ago. So he's going to get paid. If Lane Kiffin were to win a national title this year, they have a great year. They're going to extend his contract. That's just how the game is played. So, I was a little surprised. I'm surprised at how much money Dan Mullen's making right now. Aren't you?
Well, I do think it's, I think it's a sign of the times, though, with the inflation rate of these successful coaches. If Texas A&M were to win a national title, to go back on your point, can you imagine how much more money A&M would give Jimbo Fisher? And they would probably exceed Nick Saban at some point because they simply have more than anybody in the country, basically, or in the SEC, for at least in the SEC. Texas A&M does. So I am surprised, but I'm not surprised. Now, I do think this will add an expectation that, okay, Dan, you've gotten here now. You've gotten this program back to where you can feel comfortable competing for the SEC championship on a regular basis, as well as getting into the final college football playoffs on a more consistent basis. Florida's never made it yet, but now I think the expectation is certainly there, and we'll see how the year goes. I mean, the season last year, with all, for all intents and purposes, was successful in many, many ways, but it didn't end the way Florida fans had envisioned while the season was going on, obviously. Now, college football, with all of its with all the inner workings of free agency now and the transfer portal and these salaries that have just gone parabolic, is changing. And so Florida wants to be ahead of the curve. And I guess being able to compete on a facility side, on a recruiting side, means that you're going to have to, if you want to keep this kind of coach, you're going to have to pay him. But it's a lot of money. It's more than I thought he would get this soon in his tenure at Florida. And I guess Florida's stepping up and saying, here, this is our guy. And Dan is saying, I'm happy to be here.
Well, I mean, you're not going to turn that down there, are you, JC?
No way. I mean, look, if Florida's going to do that, then things aren't so bad, is it? And obviously,
yeah, John,
go ahead.
I was going to read this. Facebook Live because it's kind of, you can answer it as well. John says, to your point, QB, about winning a title and getting a new deal, would you say Saban is underpaid? Well, he continues to get pay raises, it seems like, every year.
Yes. Yeah. And listen, the money he's created at the University of Alabama on the revenue side for just the school itself, and not just that, but with the enrollment increase and with the brand recognition that he has given that school with the success of football, is worth a lot more than what he's being paid. Believe me, the University of Alabama is getting its money's worth in so many other ways. But Florida is a school that can sell itself in many other ways that maybe an Alabama or a smaller school couldn't. But we'll see if they can turn that corner and be in that conversation on a consistent basis, challenging for titles. Right now, the biggest obstacle to Florida, in my mind, is not Alabama, it's Georgia. And so beating Georgia consistently, or at least more often than not, would be the validation of what they're paying Dan Mullen and the staff there. So they'll have a full stadium this year. The schedule is, I think, very doable. Even though they have a very good team coming in here, it's a home game. And outside of that, I just can't see why Florida wouldn't contend in the East. It all will come down to the Georgia game, and it seems to always do that. Now, Florida can't afford to lose those two Western games with LSU and Alabama. They have to win one of those two, or maybe both. But the Georgia game typically will determine who goes to Atlanta. At least it's been that way for the most recent past. QB, but I don't know. I think it's good that and you said there was a Facebook Live question from Gene. We didn't get that when you went dead. What was his question?
Let me see if I can find it.
Yeah, you said something, right? Yeah.
Gene, let's see what Gene said. Gene said he hosts the UAA, takes care of Tim Walton and Brian Shelton, as they did. Oh, yeah. I mean, I think Tim got a new deal last year, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, and Tim's gotten bonuses for winning, certain titles. He's gotten in-season bonuses paid at the end or whatever, and he's got 2 titles. Brian Shelton is going to be probably one of the highest-paid coaches in his sport, I would guess. So I can't imagine why they wouldn't take care of these 2 coaches. And again, Florida has made a commitment and always has to spring sports, as we've seen because of the success of the spring sports here at Florida. And these coaches are the biggest reason for that, obviously, in my opinion. So I don't think Florida has any problem taking care of their spring sports and non-revenue sport coaches.
If you got joint pain in your knees, shoulders, hip, or back that won't go away, you need to check out QC Kinetics for long-lasting relief. Not surgery, drugs, or downtime. Schedule your free consultation at QC Kinetics, 352-400-4550. call them today. That's QC Kinetics, 352-400-4550. Speaking with JC on the Titan MR hotline, we'll be joined by Zach Abolverdi in the second portion of today's show. JC, did you see, I know you follow the CFL, right, JC? You're a big Canadian Football League guy.
I got to admit that one has slipped me here recently. No.
Well, are you familiar with the Edmonton Eskimos?
I have heard. I can tell you every team. I know all the teams. I just don't know who's good or bad.
They're changing their name.
Why?
I don't know. They're going to be called the Edmonton Elks.
So we're going to basically turn everybody into an animal now. Every mascot is going to be an animal, or a color, or a fire, or listen. This is the sign of the times. This is what people want to do. They feel like it's necessary.
Does being called an Eskimo rub people the wrong way?
I don't know why it would, but the only question I have is when are the Cleveland Indians not going to be the Indians anymore? Right?
Matter of time. It will happen. There's no question.
Certainly, yeah. I mean, we're all going to be animals now. We all want animals, or we want natural disasters like lightning, the earthquakes. Will be the earthquakes. Or will be the wave, right? The tidal waves, the heat, the flames.
We got a couple of baseball questions here brought to you by Metal Law, the only official law firm partner of the Florida Gators. Obviously, the Gators play South Florida at noon on Friday to start the regionals. But this is referring to hope they pay Sully what he wants to keep from being stolen by LSU. With LSU's interest in Sully. Yeah. Look, here's the deal. LSU has a lot of money. And they love their baseball. But I don't see how anyway Scott Strickland, who is a baseball guy, would allow Sully to go to LSU.
Well, it eventually will be Sully's choice, but I think that he's always shown, in my mind at least, a very happy. He's been very happy here at Florida, and he did win a national title, and he certainly has that reputation of being a great baseball coach. He's a Hall of Famer. He is, and LSU though is a Hall of Fame program. It is. So, Maneri, who was there, won it in 2009, replacing one of the most legendary coaches of all time in that sport, and Skip Bertman. So the pedigree at LSU, they could make the case, is as good or better than any in the SEC. All right. So Florida and LSU can match dollar figures, and Kevin's just going to have to decide, where does he want to be? Does he want to be in Gainesville coaching here, or in Baton Rouge coaching there? And, he's always, I think, shown that commitment to Florida. And now Florida built him a stadium, right? One of the last schools to do that, but they did it. And now here it is. And, it'd be very surprising to me, although it's going to be hard to say no to a program like LSU. I mean, let's face it, they have titles. They have the history, and they have the tradition that most schools in this conference, or any of them, don't have in baseball. So I think that obviously LSU is going to be a very interesting scenario for Kevin O'Sullivan, but he's been a Gator for as long as I can remember, and he settled with being the coach here when our ballpark was obsolete, and he was patient and waited, and they built him a new one. QB, are you with us?
I'm back. We got some serious issues in the Jacksonville area for some reason. Wow. It's a beautiful day. I got a perfect signal. Between Zoom and the regular cell service over here, something's going on, but I'm here.
Okay. Well, I was just talking about O'Sullivan. LSU's got the pedigree, but he's always shown a real. He's been very committed to Florida his entire head coaching career.
No, I agree with that. Rick says on Facebook Live, when will FSU not be the Seminoles?
Hey, it's a very legitimate question. If the Edmonton Eskimos can't be the Eskimos, and the Indians aren't eventually going to be the Indians, you're right. What would Florida State be? Let's figure out a new name for the Seminoles, QB. Let's call them the.
We can call them the Semis.
Well, the Semis. What is that? A truck? I mean,
I don't know. Coach Spurrier calls it the same.
Well, yeah, I know he does, but if not, that's because he doesn't want to say Seminole. So if they're not going to be the Seminoles, are they going to be the Florida State Truckers? The Truckers.
Yeah, I like that. Refresh your vehicle and your brand with the vehicle wrap from Wrap Spot Juniors. You're lucky you want the Wrap Spot. Mention promo code Shane and receive 13% off your vehicle wrap. A few more minutes with JC. We'll get to our peach industry golf picture.
I mean, I don't know, man.
Tour. You don't think it is?
QB, not one word was understood what you just said.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. So,
all right, you're back now. You want to read that over again? You want to read that again? Because
I just said we got the Memorial this weekend, and it's one of the bigger tournaments on tour, and we're going to do our Peachland Dentistry Gator. Can you hear me now?
You're on. Go ahead.
Okay. I don't know what's going on with the freaking phone lines over here.
You're just in and out.
I have a perfect signal. That's what's crazy. So it is what it is. Like you said, it's live radio, live television, whatever you want to call it. We got. I'm reading some of these Facebook lives here.
Well, at least they're chiming
on my phone.
Yeah.
They're trying to. Nat says I'm doing a robot impression. I don't know how bad it sounds. I apologize. It's not my fault. It's technology, folks. Like I said, it's the cell service, the Zoom service, whatever you want to call it. It ain't working great today, but we're going to survive because that's what we do here. Can you hear me, JC?
Yeah, got you, baby. Go ahead.
Okay. So, first of all, we're going to get to This Day in Sports, which is brought to you by Comfort Temp. Comfort is our business. Peace of mind is our promise. Comfort Temp is now hiring team members with all levels of experience, great culture and benefits and opportunity for growth. $1,000 sign-on bonus for qualified positions. Call in today to learn more about a career with Comfort Temp Company. 352-376-2366. This Day in Sports. Wasn't a whole lot going on today, JC, on June 2nd, This Day in Sports. And I'll be dang, you know what? There it is. Nope, it won't come up on my phone now. Imagine that. Oh, no, here it is. It came up. I don't know what's going on, man. This is so weird.
We're back in the 80s, 90s.
We are. More like the 50s, it seems like.
50s, yeah.
In 1883, the first night baseball game was played under the lights in Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Okay. All right. I also remember in 1980. Well, that's interesting. Fort Wayne, Indiana. I remember in 1987 or 88. It was one of those 2 years. The Chicago Cubs had their first night game at Wrigley Field, and I watched that game from a Motel 6 in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, as I embarked on my new career as sports director at WHLT in Hattiesburg, home of the Southern Mississippi Golden Eagles. And I'll never forget watching the first night game at Chicago at Wrigley Field between the Mets and the Cubbies. But Fort Wayne, Indiana. How about that?
Yep, in 1883. That's a long time ago.
A long time ago. It's amazing they have data on that. So QB, we're gonna you want to do the golf picks now, or you want to wait for that?
Let's do those. The Peachland Dentistry, Gator Nation's #1 choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte and surrounding areas. Visit them at peachlanddental.com and join us today for the JC and QB golf picks. All right, so we got the Memorial, which is Jack Nicklaus's tournament up in Ohio.
Columbus, Ohio.
Yep. Beautiful golf course. I'm going to let you go first. Who are you picking?
Well, I know who you're going to pick, so I might as well just let you continue to do that. And I'm going to go with John Rahm. He is the defending champion. He is the defending champion, by the way.
You pick him every week, by the way.
No.
I'm going with Victor Hovland.
Oh, I can't believe that. God, if he is just always on the leaderboard, isn't he? All right, that's a good pick. I'm going to take one of your guys this time. You're not going to like that, but he gets picked every week, and I don't know why we keep picking this guy because he hasn't won anything yet. But I'm taking Xander Schauffele.
Oh, look at you. He's a good player. He's a good player.
He certainly is. But he can. I think he's going to putt really well on those slopey greens, and I like his chances. Go ahead.
I'm going to take the former college basketball player, Gary Woodland.
Yeah, Gary is having a really good year, and he is all over the top 10 in tournaments this year. And you know who's been playing better lately is Ricky Fowler, but I'm not picking him. Justin Thomas has been in the tank here the last couple of weeks. I don't know what's wrong with him, so I'm not picking him. DeChambeau, I picked quite a bit. I'm not going to pick him, but I am going to pick Patrick Reed because I like his short game, and I think short games win at the Memorial. So give me Pat Reed.
All right, my last pick will be the Canadian Corey Connors.
That's a good one. He had a pretty good run here recently as well. So that'll be good. You know, Jordan Spieth, that 73 he threw up there on Sunday at the Colonial, lost him the tournament. And I know that, you know, you have to congratulate the winner of the tournament. But certainly I think, you know, not Sam Burns, but who the heck won that last week?
Jason Kokrak.
Yeah, Kokrak won it. But I think as much as he won it, Jordan Spieth kind of lost it. But that's just the way he's been this year. The last day has been difficult for him for some reason, but he is playing better. He's at least a threat to win a tournament now. But you've got Hovland, Woodland, Connors. I'm going with Rahm, Schauffele, and Reed. I'm going to win this weekend, QB. By the way, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Did you see the Suns beat the Lakers? I love seeing that. And
they hammered the Lakers.
Yeah, they put it on the Lakers, and old Charles Barkley called Anthony Davis "Street Clothes Davis." And then we had in hockey the Tampa Bay Lightning last night, QB 2-1 once again. Great goaltending. Only needed 2 goals to win. They're up 2-0 in that series. If they win, they will play the winner of the Bruins and Islanders, and they're already up 2-0 going back to Tampa. So the Lightning are looking good.
So who are the Lightning playing in the next round?
Well, as I just said, they would play the Bruins Islanders winner, and if they get through that series, they will play for the Stanley Cup to defend. It looks very, very clear to me that the team out west that's going to be potentially playing the Lightning in the Stanley Cup Finals will absolutely be the Colorado Avalanche. So, you know, Montreal, Winnipeg's not good enough to beat Colorado in a 7-game series, and Vegas right now is a tired team after playing a 7-game series with Minnesota. They lose 7-1 in the first game of that series to Colorado. Colorado is rested. They have the best talent. They're going to be in the Stanley Cup Finals. Colorado and probably very likely could be Tampa. Yep.
Yeah, I haven't really watched it. I've watched a little bit of the hockey playoffs. I watched a little bit of the NBA. I for whatever reason, I don't know if you saw what Damian Lillard did last night. He scored like 55 points. Yeah. But his team they can't get over the hump.
They can't. And Denver will likely win that series. It's not over, but they will. Brooklyn closed out the Celtics. But, man, what the Suns did to go up 3-2 on L.A. L.A. can't win without Davis, and Davis is just never healthy. So it looks really promising, as it does for the 76ers, who are without the big guy, although I don't know about tonight. Yeah, I don't know if he's in tonight or not. The Atlanta Hawks, the patron mascot of my country club here, the Atlanta Hawks are up 3-1 on the Knickerbockers, and the Jazz, who have had the best record all season long, look to close out the Grizzlies tonight. Don't count out Utah. That's a strong team. That Mitchell kid can play, and obviously we know Utah is good this year. They are the 1 seed in the West, so could be very interesting in the playoffs if you follow the NBA.
Yeah, I think either the Nets or the Bucks are going to win it all.
I like Milwaukee too. I like Milwaukee. Yeah, the very strong team. They swept their opponent. So,
all right, JC, you need to get online right now and order you an Edmonton Eskimos hat before they go out of business.
Yeah, no question. I've got my Houston Oilers hat, so I probably should do that. Good call. But I do have a Phoenix Suns hat now. If they close out the Lakers, you'll be looking at the purple sun. You'll be looking at the purple the purple hat with the orange blazing yellow basketball sun.
All right, JC, have a good day. Sorry about the technical difficulties. Blame it on Jacksonville, though.
You're back now. It's okay.
All right. That's JC. Right. Join us on the Titan MR hotline. We're going to take our first time out of the pro. When we come back, we'll be joined by the Gainesville Suns, Zach Abolverdi, talking a little Gator sports. You're watching and listening to Pot Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. We'll be right back.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our gridiron sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, where you matter most. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. G-Tech Sport, keep your athletes in the game with G-Tech Sport. QC Kinetics, non-surgical regeneration, live pain-free. Celebration Point Town Center, Center State Bank, Chris Doring Mortgage. Some of our touchdown sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union, Adams Rib Company, Doreen Weeby Realtor Caldwell Banker, MM Parish, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Wrap Spot, Okido America, Gators Dockside, Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, TB Financial, Meadowbrook Golf Course, Darshakow Insurance, Silverback Concrete Company. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, visit podupwithshane.com and click the advertise button. Again, thank you to all the great businesses that support the show. If you like what we are doing here, make sure to follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, celebration points where the Gators go to celebrate with premium brands like Regal Cinemas, Dave & Buster's, Nike, Le Macaron, French Pastries, Kilwins, and coming summer of 2021, the HBC's new restaurant, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill and Visors, Tailgate and Rooftop Bar. We will see you at Celebration Point where the Gators go to celebrate. We're now going to go to the Titan MR hotline, and we're going to be joined by Zach Abolverdi from the Gainesville Sun. Good morning, Zach. How are you?
I'm doing well, Shane. How are you doing?
Not too bad. Not too bad. Hey, Zach, looks like Scott Strickland and the UAA were just passing cash out yesterday with some new contract extensions. Your thoughts on, obviously, football, men's basketball, and women's basketball coaches getting extensions?
Yeah, obviously it was good timing. I know that Florida said that this was not an announcement, and it wasn't because it was in response to the public records request, but it's no mistake that this news came out for Dan Mullen, letting the nation know that he's now the third highest paid coach in the SEC, the fourth highest paid coach in the country on the first day of recruiting when the Gators had, 30, 40 recruits on campus for the first time in 15 months. All those guys checking social media and checking Twitter and see all the reports about Dan Mullen making $7.6 million. That was really good timing on Florida's part. And obviously, I think a long time coming, maybe not a long time, but it had been coming in terms of Mullen. I don't think maybe anybody expected it to be that high, but certainly it was something that had been in the works. I think the pandemic pushed it back a year. I think he would have gotten this contract extension and this raise last season or last year. So it just now finally come to fruition. And then for Mike White and Cam Neubauer, no change in their financial terms, but both of them just got extended 2 years and 3 years on their contracts. And I think obviously for Scott Strickland, going out there and doing that makes a commitment to both of those coaches, certainly for recruiting, but saying that, hey, I believe in these guys and we're going to keep building with them.
Do you think with Dan's extension, because he got a little raise, do you think getting that check from the SEC, that $23 million check, helped out, wanting to extend him, or do you think they were going to extend him regardless?
I think they were going to do it regardless. Again, I would be surprised if that revenue had any influence on the amount of money that they gave Dan. Maybe from a timing standpoint, I think that it just made more sense now because they had that extra funds to be able to put into other areas of their program. But in terms of just strictly paying the coaches, I think it was always coming down the pipe. It was just a matter of when the timing was right. Certainly you don't want to announce a raise for your coaches in the middle of a pandemic when things were really bad and folks were out of work. So now we've come a long ways, and I think now is the appropriate time for this to be happening.
Yeah, that's a good point. So yesterday, as you mentioned, it was the first time kids could come on official visits. They had camps, all the different things they were doing. let everybody kind of know what, I think it was Junior Day yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, kind of let everybody know kind of what happened yesterday on campus.
Yeah, it was a Junior Day, and their official visits actually don't start until this weekend, although I think they have some during the middle of the week. But they actually didn't have any official visitors yesterday, just guys coming on campus unofficially. But man, I mean, it was dozens of kids, Shane, and because it was a Junior Day, or it was labeled as such, they had a big barbecue event with the Sonny's out there and our big boy Snell, cooking up the ribs. But he was there for that event that they had that was more so for juniors, kind of labeled as a Junior Day. But they actually had a lot of 2022 kids out there from this current recruiting cycle that were visiting, like their quarterback commit, Nick Evers, one of their running back targets, Terrence Gibbs. He was on campus, and those guys got to spend time with the coaches. Nick Evers got to work out with Garrick McGee in the morning for about a half hour. And I know there was another running back prospect that worked with Austin, who worked with Greg Knox for like an hour and a half. So this was workouts going on. This was a cookout going on, certainly tours of the facilities on the campus. But more than anything, it was just a chance for these guys to finally get some FaceTime with these coaches, and vice versa, for the coaches to get FaceTime with the players and their parents, coaches that came up, high school coaches. So this was a much needed event for Florida. I think that they capitalized on it in a very good way by not only getting 22 kids, but 23 kids and some 24 kids. And like I said, you had a five-star prospect on campus. You had top 100 kids. They did a good job of kind of getting a mix of a variety of targets.
We got a Facebook Live here brought to you by Mellon Law, the only official law firm partner of the Florida Gators. John wants to know, has Zach heard anything about what Florida is doing related to the name, image, and likeness like some of the other schools have released?
Nothing specifically. I can just tell you that Florida's ahead of the game. They are ready for this to go into motion this summer. I had Ross Dellinger on my podcast last week, and he's in Washington, D.C. covering all this stuff for Sports Illustrated. And it looks like where things stand, there's going to be a federal law or bill that gets put in place that allows name, image, and likeness to happen across the country in every state, not just in 4 or 5. But for the time being now, there are only a handful of states that are in position to take advantage of name, image, and likeness, and Florida was the first. And because of that, UF and everybody here, in terms of their creative media department and everybody that's involved with that, they have been putting plans in place and a bunch of different features for players to take advantage of once they can start capitalizing on name, image, and likeness. I think, Shane, how strong the Florida brand is, and just all the different avenues that they're going to be able to create for these kids, but also do it in the right way, in the responsible ways, so that doesn't take away from their academics. It doesn't take away from football, but they can still make some money for NIL. So I don't know of any specifics. All I can tell you is Florida's been putting in a lot more work months ahead of several other schools and certainly several other states. And I also think that they have the resources and then the brand nationally to really take advantage of this. I think, Shane, when people talk about college football recruiting and how it's like 5 schools that really recruit well, and then everybody else is kind of that second tier, I think it's going to be the same thing with NIL. I think that the major programs that have national brands, huge alumni, a lot of resources, are going to be able to capitalize on this more than other programs. I think Florida's one of those.
Zach, do you like the NIL?
Yes and no. I like that athletes can make money from their name, image, and likeness. I don't think that if it gets into a situation where they're like shooting commercials, 4 commercials a week, and they're meeting with their agent, and it becomes too much of a distraction, and not even a distraction, but just it becomes too much that is on their plates, because at the end of the day, these kids are still going to school. I don't even know how they play football and go to school with all the time that those two things take. So I think, when you when they set it up to where these guys can do autograph signings or I think events that are facilitated or even controlled by UF so that things are being done responsibly, I don't see any issue with that. I just think that, it's going to open the door, obviously, for a bunch of stuff in recruiting and schools or just situations where they're able to take advantage of kids. And that's something that I am fearful of. But at the end of the day, I do think that it makes sense for them to be getting something,
Yeah, I have mixed emotions about it. I think it's going to cause a lot of problems in the locker room personally. I was on somebody's show and they brought up a good point. Let's just say Trent Whittemore catches 8 balls one game, Jake Copeland catches none, and then some business wants to do a signing Sunday afternoon or Monday with Trent Whittemore, that the other guys that didn't catch those balls are going to get upset. I can see how that happens. And people say, well, different guys have different deals in the NFL, but the NFL is different. Everybody's getting paid something. It's their job. I don't know. I don't know how you're going to police it. A player could have a great year making a ton of money. And then, like I always use Kyle Trask as an example. Let's say they had the NIL last year. Kyle has an unbelievable year. Well, his parents went to Texas A&M. Why couldn't Texas A&M offer him like $200,000 car dealership or whatever and come play for them? So I don't know. I don't know what the right way to do it. I just think it's going to be a mess.
I do think it's going to be a mess, and I don't think that it's going to get figured out certainly right away. I mean, it's going to be an evolving process, and I think, like you mentioned, Shane. I mean, the one good thing at Florida is, again, I think that they have the resources to maybe facilitate more opportunities for their athletes to make some type of money off of name, image, and likeness, even like their offensive linemen, who are probably going to maybe have a harder time getting endorsement deals or stuff like that. I think the school can sometimes facilitate that, but no, it's from locker room to recruiting to just the sport as a whole. It's going to change it forever, and probably not for the better.
No. Speaking of recruiting, some recruiting news came out yesterday. I guess Eric Gilbert, who was at LSU, had committed to the Gators, decommitted. He's now going to be a Georgia Bulldog. I don't know if he'll be eligible or not, but also Georgia picked up the Clemson DB that played a lot at Clemson. Your thoughts on, Georgia's the team we have to beat. It's that simple.
Yeah, I mean, two good additions for Georgia through the portal. Obviously, we know how well Florida's done in the transfer portal, and I think you're going to start to see other schools be able to land the pieces that the Gators have been landing the last couple of years. They've been able to dip into the portal before it really was running rampant and get guys like, Van Jefferson and Jonathan Grenard and, some of the other 5 stars they've landed recently, like Shorter and Grimes and Bowman, Lingard and Bowman. But, for Georgia, I don't know, man. I mean, they recruit so well, Shane, and sign so many top 2 classes and top 3 classes. You would think that they wouldn't need to go into the transfer portal, but I guess everybody's got a dip in there now. So we'll see. I mean, look, on paper, there's no way that Georgia should have beat Florida last year. I mean, according to all the recruiting services, they had way more talent than the Gators did, and somehow Florida blew them out. So, obviously we'll get to Jacksonville and see how that game shakes out and how their seasons are playing. But from a talent standpoint, yes, this is more firepower for Georgia. Obviously, Dan Mullen and his staff got to continue to keep working and take advantage of this time right now in recruiting. But as far as Gilbert goes, you mentioned him. There's a reason why he didn't last at Florida and stay committed to the Gators. So I hope everything works out for him, but he's still got some work to do before he's able to see the field.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, everybody's pointing towards that Alabama game. The Alabama game is just, we want to win it, but it doesn't matter in the big scheme of things when you think about it, because you can beat Alabama, and if you lose to Georgia, you're not going to go to Atlanta.
You
Yeah.
can lose to Alabama and then beat Georgia and go to Alabama. Go to Atlanta for the championship game. So that's the most important game. Zach, before we let you go, let everybody how they can check out all your work.
Yeah, you guys can go to Gatorsports.com and read my stuff in the Gainesville Sun. You can follow me on Twitter, just my name altogether. And obviously, getting ready to cover some baseball this weekend and recruiting heating up. And then certainly before you know it, Shane, football is going to be right around the corner, man.
There's no question about it. Zach, we appreciate you taking the time to join us. Be safe, my man, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, bud. Take care.
That's Zach Abolverdi joining us on the Titan MR hotline. Going to take our second time out of the pro and come back. We'll wrap up this Wednesday edition. You're watching and listening to Pot Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our gridiron sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, where you matter most. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. G-Tech Sport, keep your athletes in the game with G-Tech Sport. QC Kinetics, non-surgical regeneration, live pain-free. Celebration Point Town Center, Center State Bank, Chris Doring Mortgage. Some of our touchdown sponsors are Big Mills Cheesesteaks, MB Listing, Cornerstone Financial, McDonald's of Gainesville, My IT Masters, Gainesville Neon and Signs, 84 Lumber, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, Chick-fil-A on Archer Road, Avra and Smith, Dowling Signs, Chomp Parter Apparel, Ruse Ogra Agent, State Farm Insurance, Silver Cube Billiards and Sports Bar. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, visit potupwithshane.com and click the advertise button. Again, thank you to all the great businesses that support the show. If you like what we are doing here, make sure to follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. Large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Center State Bank is now South State Bank, but we still put business first. We understand that small businesses need a community business partner that they can rely on. South State still has 4 convenient Alachua County locations. South State Bank, banking forward, member FDIC. We want to thank JC and Zach Abolverdi for joining us today on the Titan MR hotline. Let me read a couple of Facebook Lives here, brought to you by Meldon Law, the only official law firm partner of the Florida Gator. Phil says, can't wait to be able to lock in signings with current players. Going to be huge. Hopefully Fanatics won't lock them in at that level now. Shaking my head. I'm not quite sure what Phil's referring to there. If he wants to send another Facebook Live to explain, that'd be great. We also got a bunch of Facebook Lives here talking about changing the name of FSU. John says the use of Seminoles isn't going anywhere anytime soon. FSU even decided to not change the name of the stadium after the woke crowd came after that. So anyway, as I mentioned, Florida baseball regionals open up Friday. Gators have the noon game. Hopefully it'll be a packed house. I don't know if people will be able to get off work since Monday was not was a holiday. So I'm not sure how many people will be there, but they play South Florida, and then the evening game will be South Alabama against the Miami Hurricanes. I got a text here on the Titan MR text line. It comes from Julie. Julie says, Shane, what are your thoughts about Tim Tebow having the highest number of jersey sales in the NFL? Well, it doesn't surprise me. I mean, it surprises me a little. Tim, he moves the needle no matter where he is. There's no question about that. So it's very interesting because, there's no guarantee he's going to be on the roster. And I'm curious how many people will be upset if he doesn't make the roster after they just purchased one of his jerseys. Dan says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Meldon Law, Florida State has partnered with the Seminole tribe, so they are okay. Okay. We were referring to them maybe having to change their names because I brought it up earlier. If you missed it, I know we have a lot of Canadian Football League fans out there, but I heard this morning that longtime Canadian Football League team, the Edmonton Eskimos. Kerwin Bell played for them for quite some time. They are having to change their name, and they're now going to be called the Edmonton Elks, which is actually kind of a cool name, but I like Eskimos as well. So if you missed it, Eric Gilbert, the former Gator commit after he left LSU, is now a Georgia Bulldog. They also picked up a transfer from a guy in the transfer portal that was a really good player in the defensive backfield for Clemson. So we'll see. A lot of pressures on Kirby Smart and them to make a run this year. Who knows what will happen. If you missed it also, Dan Mullen gets a pay raise and an extension. Mike White gets an extension, and Cameron Neubauer, the women's coach, gets an extension as well. And it's good to have those guys locked up for a while. Obviously, that means nothing. They can always, if you ain't getting it done, they'll buy you out and find somebody else. But some security there for them. And Bubba said here on Facebook Live, I guess he was referring to one of JC's stories earlier in the program. Did you have air conditioning in the Motel 6 in Hattiesburg? With about a bunch of laughs. So we want to apologize for our technical difficulties as I was on the road today. I don't know what was happening. It was pretty bizarre, actually. But anyway, that happens in live radio, folks. And we appreciate you joining our program today. Also, don't forget, tell all your friends and family to follow us and like us on Facebook and YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and many, many other digital platforms out there. The more, the merrier. And please do that. Also, don't forget at Chris Doring Mortgage, they do mortgage lending right, helping home buyers throughout Gainesville and North Central Florida. Call Chris Doring Mortgage today at 352-244-0840. Got a text just came in from Jim on the Titan Tomorrow text line. It says, Shane, did you see the comments from Trevor Lawrence about Tim Tebow? I heard about them. I didn't hear. Basically, somebody asked me. I was on another show up in Jacksonville yesterday, and I think Trevor was speaking very highly of having Tebow on the team. He's doing well, all that. Like I said, if Tim Tebow is good enough to help the Jaguars win, he will make the team. If he doesn't, they're not going to keep him on the 53-man roster. So, I'm sure Trevor enjoys having Tim Tebow around as a teammate right now. So we shall see. It's going to be interesting. I know a lot of Gator fans are anxious to see, Urban, what he does with Tebow, Trevor Lawrence. JC and I have discussed their win totals. I think it's at 6.5. Can they win 7 games? I don't know if they can or not. Time will tell, but I think Trevor Lawrence is going to be a dang good building block for the Jaguars. I think he's NFL ready. And, but I don't know what kind of players he has around him, quite honestly. I did see some posts by Pete Prisco, the top 100 players or top 200 players in the NFL. There was only like one Jaguar, and that was Myles Jack at like number 79. So, I don't know. Time will tell. We'll see. I know people are excited in the Jacksonville area for the Jaguars, and they should be. When you go 1-15, you can only go one way, and that is up. But I hope you enjoyed today's show. Again, sorry for the technical difficulties. Make sure you tune in tomorrow. We'll have Brent Beard talking a little college football, get his thoughts on what's going on up in Georgia, also the name, image, and likeness, and now that recruiting has opened up with kids all over these campuses throughout the country. It's about time. Today's show's a wrap, brought to you by Wrap Spot. Be safe out there, folks. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day.